All right, guys. So that was UFC 299, and I would give that card a solid 8 out of 10. And man, were there some amazing fights. And I got, a couple of my predictions wrong. But let's start off with the main event. So we had the rematch, the main event, Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Chito Vera 2. I wanted Marlon to win, but Sean O'Malley definitely put on a clinic and a masterclass, especially the last round, 50-44. That is crazy. And the thing is, right? People were saying that, oh, Cheeto had to make a dogfight, get in his face. It's easier said than done. And I know this from personal experience. I've had training partners who are really slick on the feet, who have really good footwork and reach on me. So somebody like Sean O'Malley, who is really good at distance management and picking his opponents out from the long range, it's going to be very difficult to get inside. And let's talk about the durability of Cheeto. Holy shit. What's this dude's chin made out of? Because I don't know how Buddy was still standing up after that knee. And even when Sean O'Malley threw a right, Marlon dropped for a brief moment to a knee, got right back up. This dude's chin needs to be examined. So, what is next for Sean O'Malley? I personally think that Marab is next in line. And I did not like what Sean O'Malley did, where he tried to duck Marab by immediately calling out Ilya Taporia. And here's the thing, if you're going to try to go for double champ status, at least clear out your whole division. And then I could respect that. So, Sean O'Malley versus Merab Dvalishvili, make it. And what's next for Marlon Chito Vera? I think he should fight Peter Yan, and they both have a similar type of fighting style, and it should be interesting. But I think Peter Yan beats Chito Vera. So let's get into the co-main event. All right, so Dustin Poirier versus Benoit Saint-Denis. And I'm not gonna lie, Dustin proved a lot of people wrong, including myself. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm happy for Dustin. And I like what he said in the post fight interview, giving these up and comers a chance, like how Eddie Alvarez was a former champion at the time, gave Dustin a chance. But Dustin definitely had the better striking outside the exchanges. But the one thing I didn't like what Dustin kept doing was jumping for a guillotine. Dude, why? It was pretty base that like he still was sticking to that game plan, live and die by the guillotine, but it definitely put him in some very worrying positions. But I felt like with Benoit Saint Denis, he kept walking into those punches. If you rewatch the fight, is that yeah, Benoit has good striking offense, but his defense definitely needs work. And I'm not gonna lie, that right hook was money, and it was just fantastic. And there was times where Benoit, was in full mount, had Dustin's back, and that was really worrying. But Benoit Saint Denis is still good. He could definitely improve and learn from this loss. And what's next for the both of them? I wouldn't mind seeing Dustin Poirier doing a trilogy with Holloway, and regardless of the result, or possibly get a title shot. Because I know Islam expressed some interest in fighting Dustin after that performance. And for Benoit Saint Denis, give him RDA. But yeah, Benoit Saint Denis is definitely a force to be reckoned with within the lightweight division. I feel like if he gets his defense up, his boxing defense up, that guy's gonna be a problem. So let's move on to the next fight. So we have Kevin Holland versus Michael Venom Page. And to be honest, I wasn't kind of excited for this one. I feel like the reason for that is because I personally thought it was going to be a snooze fest, but there was some exciting moments in that fight, and I felt like Michael Venom Page should have been in the UFC a long time ago. But you could notice in the fight that Kevin Holland was getting frustrated. And you got to think about it this way. If you're a fighter, right, and you're always having the height and reach advantage on your opponents, but you run into an opponent who's pretty much the same size as you, but they fight so weird and unorthodox in this in and out karate point fighting style, it's going to frustrate you because you don't know when they're going to blitz in, and you're just gonna get visibly frustrated. And I liked some of the trips that Michael Venom Page was doing too. So I could see him being definitely a problem for some of the welterweights, at least like, in the top 15, possibly top 10. But like, if you're talking about the top five welterweights, that's not going to work on everybody. So, with that being said, let's move on to Gilbert Burns versus Jack Della Maddalena, and let's get into it. All right, so you guys knew I had Jack Della Maddalena winning by decision, but that wasn't the case. He pulled through with a clutch knee, and he was down by 2 rounds. I think the first round could have went either or, but Gilbert Burns definitely won that second round. But man, and the way I predicted the fight, how it was gonna go, was pretty accurate. Jack Della on the feet, his offense and defense in the striking, especially the boxing area, is just smooth and crisp. Like you could definitely tell the skill difference and skill gap when it comes to striking. But yeah, Gilbert Burns, man, he had to do what's best for him. The path of least resistance, and get into that wrestling and that jiu-jitsu. And you could tell in the last round, Jack Della was frustrated because he was losing this fight. But the finishing sequence was so awesome. He definitely did. I think it was a Grammy roll. But yeah, he rolled out that out of Gilbert Burns holding his back. And then Jack Della timed it beautifully too. As soon as he get the grip, he knew that Gilbert Burns was gonna shoot knee straight up the middle, and it wasn't even the knee; it was like the femur, the thigh bone that hit Gilbert. And man, he must have hit him real hard because Gilbert was still on the floor for a cool minute. And yeah, man, I like Gilbert Burns, but damn, like it kind of sucks to see Gilbert Burns go out like that. And it's crazy that Jack Della called out Shakov Ramanov. And personally, me, I feel like on the feet, Jack Della is going to give him some problems. But I feel like Shakov is definitely going to use his wrestling to his advantage. Because, man, I feel like nobody in the welterweight division could really fuck with Jack Della on the feet besides somebody probably like Jeff Neal or like Ian Gary. Well, nah, I think if Jack Della and Ian Gary were to fight, I still got Jack Della winning, in my opinion. With that being said, let's go on to Petr Yan versus Sean Yadong. I'm not gonna lie, I am very happy that Petr Yan is back in the win column because man, that first round was definitely Song Yadong's round, and I was getting worried about Petr, but old fashioned Petr Yan, slow starter, downloading data, and he just went to work. And personally, me, I feel like that fight in itself deserved a bonus. But yeah, it just goes to show how stacked this bantamweight division is, pound for pound, skill for skill. But yeah, and I think it was in the third round, Peter timed a beautiful takedown. And yeah, Peter just went to work and just downloaded the data, went to the boxing, and pulled off a unanimous decision. And what's next for Peter? Like I said, him and Chito Vera should fight. And I don't know what's next for Song Yadong. Because, man, I'm telling you, these bantamweights are just fucking studs, man. But, yeah, let's get into the next fight. So Curtis Blades versus Jailton Almeida, and thank God Curtis Blades knocked out Jailton Almeida. I actually had Curtis Blades winning, and the first round, no exaggeration, guys. Jailton Almeida took down Curtis Blades and literally just held him down for 5 minutes. He didn't even attempt to even do ground and pound. Like Jonathan Almeida, he probably forgot this was a fight and he thought he was in a grappling match. And I come from a wrestling background, so it's just like, man, at least do some damage while you're on top of your opponent. So the second round goes on, and Jonathan Almeida is just throwing haymakers and misses. He goes for another shot. Curtis Blade sprawls, and then he starts throwing vicious hammer fists to the head, which ended up knocking out Jonathan Almeida. And I think Jonathan Almeida definitely needs to work on his striking because he has zero striking on the feet. All he really does is bounce, 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 teep, bounce, 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 teep, then go for a takedown. That's not gonna work at the elite level. You definitely need some striking. So let's get into Matus Gamrot versus RDA. So I knew that Matus Gamrot was gonna win, but if you guys looked at that first round, Matus almost got finished by RDA. RDA landed a beautiful uppercut. And then, rest of the fight, Matus just ended up wrestling him to death. And I know a lot of people aren't a biggest fans of the wrestling style, but it's called mixed martial arts. We have MMA fans, but they get mad when you mix all the martial arts together. But man, RDA is still a dog. He still has it, and it goes to show, man, that even at RDA's old age, I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. And match up RDA with Benoit saint-denis, and for Matus, I don't know who he should fight, but man, who should Matus Gamrot fight? Let me think. Well, guys, comment down. Who do you think Matus Gamrot should fight? So let's get into Pedro Munoz versus Kyler Phillips. I'm not gonna hold y'all guys. Kyler Phillips just straight dog walk Pedro Munoz 30-27. And it's crazy to see that Pedro Munoz has been in the top of this bantamweight division for the longest, and just to see him possibly not be ranked is crazy. Again, it goes to show that the bantamweight division is fucking stacked. If we're talking skill for skill and pound for pound, I don't care what nobody says. And Pedro Munoz is going to be a stepping stone to these up and coming, young fighters at bantamweight. And yeah, we should be on the lookout for Kyler Phillips because he's only 28 too, so he's still young. Yeah, I feel like Kyler Phillips is definitely hitting his prime, and I don't know what's next for him. But with that being said, let's get into the next fight. Iwan Cutelaba versus Felipe Lins. So Felipe Lins won by decision, and in the first round, them calf kicks were crucial, and that's the new meta of MMA, the calf kick. And towards the third round, you could tell Felipe wasn't engaging as much. He wasn't trying to get knocked out, but what Iwan did was very cheap, doing the 12-6 elbow behind the head. I don't even know how he just got a warning for that. I'm surprised he didn't even take a point. But I don't know. Ion Cutelaba, in my opinion, I feel like he's undersized as a light heavyweight. He should go down to middleweight. But yeah, let's get into Robelis Despaigne versus Josh Parisian. So Robelis Despaigne already knew he was going to knock out Josh Parisian. And in his professional MMA career so far, Robelis Despaigne has 5 minutes and 31 seconds of octagon time. Literally, all his wins have been by knockout. 6'7", 261 pounds, and he's a Taekwondo Olympic bronze medalist. And we have a lot of unanswered questions about Robelis. How's his chin? How's his cardio? How's his takedown defense? Because I feel like if he has pretty decent takedown defense, he's gonna be a problem for a lot of those heavyweights. And the way that he knocked out Josh was, even though Robellis slipped, he knocked him out moving backwards, and that takes a lot of power. So, what's next for Robellis Despaigne? Um, I don't know personally, but I would not be surprised if they tried to fast track this dude. So yeah, that's pretty much a recap of UFC 299. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me guys know what was your favorite fight. And with that being said, see you in the next one. Bye.